Hello, this is Jeff, Facebook Advertising for Beginners. This is not going to be the typical Facebook Advertising for Beginners tutorial video. There are plenty of those out there showing how to do things. This is going to be a little bit different, and it's going to have some actually advanced concepts that will be quickly and easily explained here, hopefully. So let's get started. So who is advertising on Facebook? According to Facebook, in April of 2017, they say 65 million businesses are on Facebook or have business pages, and 5 million advertisers are advertising on Facebook. So there's still 60 million businesses on Facebook that are not advertising. So while there are a lot of advertisers, there's a lot of businesses that are not yet advertising. I suspect the number is going to go up quite a bit. So let's go to the next screen. Success with Facebook advertising. So I've written a blog post here. It's over on my website, Database Systems, and I'm kind of following the format of this. This is if you want to get more detail, go to this blog post here. You'll find it as Facebook Advertising for Beginners. Okay. And this video is just kind of outlining that blog post. So bridging the gap between your ads and your audience interests. So this is a really important concept because if your ads don't mean anything or resonate with the people who are reading them, then they're not going to be successful. So in the blog post, I talk about how to get closer to your audience by what you're saying in your ads. So your ads should really match the interests of the audience. Just stop and think about that for a minute, because that's really a very important thing. Without that, you won't have success. It's just as simple as that. So, and now another thing about that is you don't necessarily need to be in selling mode. In fact, you don't want to be selling when you're on Facebook, even if you're doing ads. You want to approach people in a friendlier, non-salesy way and make connections with them, build relationships with them, so on. Okay? Does Facebook work for businesses? And this kind of gets what I was just saying, is kind of this thing about businesses and Facebook. Facebook's a social media platform. So why would you want to put business advertising on that? So you got to kind of work around that. So first of all, for a lot of businesses, I would say, I'm sure this is true, most don't have time for it or the interest, or maybe they're interested, but they don't have time, or they're not interested in learning about it. Well, I think a lot of businesses are interested in doing Facebook advertising, but they don't know how to start, or they're not interested enough to go through the work of learning the basics of it. But you can do a lot with it without learning all the details. There's a lot to learn, but there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn there's a lot that you don't need to learn in order to do Facebook advertising and actually make it work. So that's the purpose of this little video here on my blog post as well. So next, I'm just going to talk about some power tips here for Facebook advertising. So know your audience type when you're running a Facebook ad. Just be aware that there are different types of people out there that, in relation to your business, a cold audience doesn't really know about your business or knows very, very little about it. Okay, a warm audience probably has heard about your business but hasn't bought anything. And then a hot audience would be people who have bought from you, or people who are very close to buying from you. Okay, or have bought like a smaller product and not your main products, or something like that. So that's just kind of a general thing to keep in mind when you're showing ads, because when you're showing ads to a hot audience, you don't want the ad to be like an awareness type ad. An awareness type ad just saying, hey, we are here, we just opened last month, and that would be for a cold audience, and everyone's a cold audience when you're new. So you want to build up your branding sort of with a cold audience and awareness campaigns, and then you generally bring people who are interested closer to you, which means they're getting warmer, and then when they're buying, they're a hot audience. So you would run ads actually more directly promoting your products and services to a warm audience or a hot audience. Okay. So here's some tips for making ads. Don't use stock photos generally. There are some cases where stock photos are okay, but most of the time, probably not, because stock photos make your ad look like an ad, and you don't really want to make your ad look like an ad on Facebook. You want it to look, even though you want it to stand out and you want people to notice it, you want it to look like other things on Facebook, but you want it to stand out at the same time. So a little bit of a dilemma there, but I talk more about that in the blog post actually. Attention-getting headline. Of course, you want to grab people's attention, because as they go through Facebook, and especially on a mobile phone, probably the screen is smaller than a desktop. You want to grab attention. Long copy is okay, so you can write a lot of stuff. Don't worry about being boring, because people won't read it all anyway. And if they're interested, they may read it. Relevant to the reader, that's important, of course. You kind of touched on that already. You want to connect with the audience. So you got to match up who you're showing your ad to and with what you're saying in your ad. Big thing there. And then consistency, which is also very important. When someone first sees your image and your headline, both of those things should be saying the same thing. You shouldn't have an image that's totally unrelated to your headline. It should be obvious at a glance that the image and the headline go together. And then if you have text or copy or a video, that should all be the same topic. And then if you do have people going to a landing page, if they click on the ad and go to your website, then they land on a page on your website, that page should be exactly what your ad was about. Too many people send clicks from ads to their homepage or their website, and then people just get lost, and then that's not good. They won't do anything then. Look at your stats is another thing that's important to do. Test and compare. So rather than just running one ad and then kind of ignoring it, run it and then look at how well it did. How many clicks did you get? Then run another one and see if you can do better. And then another one and see if you can do better. And if you get one ad that does a lot better than the other one or two or three, then you can run that one again. So that's, really key to making things work, because you have to test. You just don't know, especially on Facebook, you don't really know what's going to work ahead of time. And sometimes you're surprised. Sometimes things work and you don't think they would work. Okay, build up a list of potential customers. So with Facebook, you can do this. You can use retargeting in Facebook, and this is a more advanced thing, but it's not hard to set up, especially with one type of retargeting on Facebook, which is Facebook engagement. So you can have a custom audience in Facebook, and it's really easy to set up. And that audience can contain people who have visited your Facebook page, or clicked on your ads, or clicked on your posts, or commented or liked your posts even. So not only can you advertise to your page fans, but you can advertise to people who have clicked on your ads and engaged with your ads and your content and your posts and your page and everything. So that's a way to show ads only to those interested people, which is a lot cheaper. Plus, it should be a lot more productive for you, because those people would be more responsive and more likely to become customers eventually, because they've indicated that they are interested. Okay. Now you can also have a retargeting list of people who have visited your website. Okay, so that involves setting up some tracking code that Facebook provides for you from your ads account. And that's a good way to reach out to people who have been on your website through a Facebook ad when they are on Facebook. That's really powerful. So it's a lot cheaper to do that kind of advertising, and it's a lot more effective. I cover that in that blog post too if you want to read about that a little bit more. And then finally, get started. Don't procrastinate. And you will beat your competition because your competition is probably not doing it. They probably have not gotten started with Facebook advertising. Some have, most haven't. This is the post, the link to the post, but if you just go to databay.com, I'll put the link in below the video too for this. And if you go to databay.com, you'll find it. Facebook advertising for beginners. So this was not a typical, I don't think this has been a typical beginners Facebook ads tutorial, but probably not. There's probably not a lot of other tutorials that cover advanced topics and trying to cover them in a easy way to get started. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that maybe you'll take a look at that blog post I did there that really covers this whole thing. This was just an overview of it. And if you have questions, let me know. Please do feel free to comment below and ask me questions. I'd be glad to help you, and I thank you for watching.